kept trying to poison herself lately. My daughter made pumpkin banana chocolate chip bread, and
we're live, by the way, but keep talking.
And so she knocked the table and got some chocolate chips. And then the next morning I woke up and she smelled like garlic. I was like, what are you doing to me here, dog? Like,
I know dogs. Dogs, it's like having a forever. Are you falling? Are you falling, buddy? Come here. Come here. You want to come back up? It's like having a forever toddler, right?
Yeah.
Yes. There he is. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Freedom Friday. And yeah, even though I know we're going to be talking, well, we're talking about parenting. Talk about parenting. It's like, it's all these guys. It's all of them. And even what we were just, and that's so perfect, right? Because all of the concepts, by the way, this is Amy Williams.
Hello.
Peacefully parenting through prana. That is one of the beautiful concepts that brought her into my orbit for Freedom Friday today. And when we talk about parenting, that's everything. That's parenting ourselves, that's parenting our children, that's parenting our puppies. Because as we were just saying, it's like, that's one of the things I remember. My little dude over here, big dude, Milo, he's 4. And it's like, when he arrived, I'm like, oh my God, it's like toddler. Toddler. And just, yeah. And the funniest thing I think I remember in terms of like setting structure that I loved about him, because it was such, everything being a mirror. We have our house, and then we have my practice house where I am right now. And then we have a lake house, and his feeling like he was really, really good at following the structure, but it only applied to the space he was in. So he would get to a different house and it'd be like, yay, I don't have to do that. And we're like, oh yeah, we gotta remember, we gotta retrain us for this different space, even though, so that alone is one very interesting thing that this little guy has taught me. So there's so much. It's like, really, whenever I get around Amy, I stop being able to speak. So this is going to be a fun session. But the concepts that she opens us up to in peacefully parenting through prana, oh my God. Even though, you see the word parenting, you could put parenting yourself. I mean, that's one of the things you realize as soon as you start opening to these concepts, whether it's through the work that Amy's doing or any other concept. If you are going to start supporting leveling up the way you connect with your children very quickly, it's like, it becomes just like I was talking about. So it's like, we have these structures and here they are, externalize these structures, this program that I'm going to apply. But if you haven't really integrated whatever concepts, whatever structures, if you haven't embodied it within yourself, then there's going to be a disconnect. And these little creatures, whether it's the furries or it's our children, they're so sensitive. And what they're really tuning into isn't like, they don't like, even if you have a list on the wall for your kids, like these are the rules, they're going to be tuning into your energy, regardless of what those external structures and the rules of the house are. If your energy is not in alignment, then they're going to be mirroring that back to you. So one of the things in my experience, and that's what really gravitated and magnetizes me about what Amy has written about, and just through my life experience of, the whole purpose of my practice has been about aligning to my truth. So I've gone through these up levelings in my own embodiment of what that means. And then what happens is when things are out of alignment, it used to be like, I would come over into this sacred space and like, yeah, everything is perfect. And then making that walk, which is literally like 20 feet between my practice space and my house, was like, oh crap, oh crap, what's going to happen? What's going to hit me when I open up the door? So I've had multiple phases in my role as a mother where it's like, hey, this is really out of alignment. And it not only impacted my ability to connect with my kids, but it was impacting me. It was impacting my marriage. It was impacting the structure of my home. It was impacting everything. So each of those phases, the kiddos became such a beautiful crystal and mirror for me to see myself, because anything that they were showing me, yes, there was a piece and there was a role that they were playing in their own development. And because of the practice that I have, where I'm always turning it back in, like, okay, what is this revealing to me? There are no accidents. This is here for all of us for a higher purpose. So there's a piece that's their own development. There's a piece that's us in relationship. And then there's a piece that's really just about me. So just doing that own practice within the practice, for myself, has really up-leveled everything in my life. For my own spiritual journey, you know, how I approach things here. And I do want to talk a little bit more about that, but I'm going to pause my babble because I would love to hear whatever. I would love to hear how you landed in these concepts, and anything that
was really a
for
huge
you.
part of what kind of brought it about is, you know, with being a pranic healer and having done yoga and all these things, it's like I would have to go away. I'd have to go to the mountaintop, right, to find that peace. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm here. And then when I would try to take that back into that family situation, it was like 5 seconds in, I was like, oh my gosh, like what happened? Where did it go? You know, and it was really trying to find that. And so for many years, I thought, okay, well, and this might offend some people, please don't take it offensively, but I would come at it as, all right, well, where is my pranic healing protocol for stress? My child is stressed and I'm sweeping their solar plexus and I'm doing all the things, right? And my children would just become more furious and I couldn't understand. Like, I was like, well, why isn't it working? Because I know, like, I've worked on people who are like drug addicts and I know this works. Like, I've worked on people who are in these really intense situations as adults. Why is it working for adults and why isn't it working on the children? And I kept thinking, well, I don't have time to just go meditate because I'm frustrated and I don't have time to do this. And I just kept like asking, looking like, and also there was a component of me having studied anthropology. I wanted to know what is the thing that everyone can do, because not everyone can go and take a pranic healing class.
Mhm.
Not everyone can go and spend that time. Not everyone can buy the like $1,000 baby bouncer that makes your kid happy, you know, so there has to be an answer towards that really transcended those socioeconomic situations, that really like was a very human thing, the human thing that we don't remember anymore, that got lost. And what, you know, I thought, well, we need to raise our children in a way so that they know how to meditate and they know how to do healing, and it'll just be a slow generational thing. And what I found through all of that was how it was really just my internal process and my ability to maintain that. And I found all these really simple ways that you can do that without having to go to the mountaintop, without having to always walk away. And, you know, at first it helps, helps a lot, but to really be able to embrace it, where really the challenge that's in front of you is the thing that drives the practice. So I kind of switched it around away from these things are problems that I have to come in and try to fix, and I have to change these things about my kids and get us all doing this other thing, and really living that heart-centeredness and living from that space, because that's really the goal. You know, they say the family path is the fastest path to evolution, right? Because yes, you're going to achieve a lot up on that mountain, but if you can't bring it down into real life, you know, you've only achieved so much. They're on a mountaintop because, and that's not in any way offensive to anyone who's lived 500 years on a mountaintop and doing all these secret practices, but, you know, they can't do that in the daily life. And
Right.
so the job of the householder is to find the way to take what we've maybe gathered over lifetimes and lifetimes and bring that out into the world, you know, where we've reached. I feel like it's like this higher level that you've reached, where it's like, okay, now's the chance to do it while you're distracted, and to keep doing that more and more and be able to handle, you know, everything that's going on around you. It's not, all of those things are just opportunities. And that's how I try to approach it when I work with people, is whatever that thing is that you think, oh, I can't do this because of this, that's the opportunity to bring it there. You know, if it's the children screaming or slamming blocks or the messy house, whatever it is, it's the opportunity to bring that heart-centeredness into that moment. And in doing so, you heal that through you, and the people
Yeah.
around you then feel that. You know, I remember reading parenting books and being like, okay, now I have this psychology degree in how to manipulate my kids. You know, I'm going to say, when you clean up your room, not if you clean up your room. I'm going to smile when I say this. I'm going to get down on your level. And those are all great things. But when inside you're seething, it really just becomes this gaslighting that we do to our children. And I was like, okay, I need to find a way to make that authentic on the inside when I'm doing it. Yes, it's good to take those steps, but it's just very confusing to them. And that's why we don't get the success through it. If you aren't actually embodying it, they know what you're embodying more than they see the actions or hear the words. Or like, well, I see you tying my shoe and you're smiling, but I feel the rage inside of you. And that makes me very not heart-centered now. And I'm going to freak out. Like, that's kind of what happens with our kids, you know? And how do they, it's such a complex thing. How do they even have words to be like, you know, Mom, I'm having an issue with the emotional abuse that you're kind of doing right now by making me feel like everything's okay, but I know like they don't have a language for that. You know, they can't even, we as adults struggle with that when we get into, you know, those type of situations where we're like, something's wrong. I don't know what. It looks fine, but I know something's wrong. You know, that doesn't create a healthy path. And I just found that a lot of what I was reading and absorbing was telling me the actions to take or the words to say, but not how to actually get to that place where it felt authentic. And my spiritual practice was getting me to that place, but trying to find a way to marry the two. And I just, I think it took me till after I published the book to realize how much I had been praying and asking and meditating on finding that answer before it came. You know, I felt like, oh, this is something that kind of unfolded. And then I kind of had this flashback to when they were little and being like, no, you've been asking since then. Like, you've been trying to find it all this time. And so that was really a beautiful experience for me too, to just be like, oh, the answer came. Like, if you just keep asking, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, the piece that's so powerful, even with your practice, of course, with your practice, because even if you start these concepts and you're gearing it towards how you're approaching your children, very quickly, you realize how you can apply this to each moment. So part of what I'm getting at here is this idea that I mentioned, that like the highest level spiritual agreement that we have is that between parents and children. And I mean both ways, you and your parents and your children and you. So, and just because they're in little packages, they're a very wise teacher, and they may not have all the developmental words to explain everything that they're playing out, but they're playing out a big, big picture for everybody's highest good. So what that means in reality, like nuts and bolts reality. So probably the clearer, more recent example that I can have, developmentally too, things can become cyclic. So that's one of the gifts of seeing that I've been able to see with kiddos. I mean, there's certain cycles from a Western perspective, from a Chinese medicine perspective, like when they hit 12, because it's the first time their spirit has aligned in the animal that they were born in. For any of us, when we hit those cyclic every 12 years from the time we're born and we're in that animal year, like the spirit realm's like, all right, time to level up, trying to really amp up why you came to this planet. And that's going to include all the players that are there with you at the time. So if you have an 11-year-old, get ready. I do. I have an almost 11-year-old. I can feel her coming. And I have my daughter so I have 16, 14, almost 11, and just 6. So when my son, who's been a beautiful, beautiful player in my life, and there's a lot of, I kind of unfold his story and have unfolded it here in different ways. When I became pregnant with him, it was a really, I was at the point of extreme stagnation and extreme opening at the same time. It was when I began this journey that led to everything that I have manifested up to this point. So he embodies that piece. And this is just the levels I get. And there's higher levels. When he was 12, he went through some stuff at 8 too, which the boys tend to cycle in 8s, girls in 7s, and then you have the other cycle with 12. So there was a phase we went through with 8 that opened up a lot of breakthroughs in how we connected, and me realizing a lot of what you speak about in Peacefully Parenting through Prana in terms of my energy and his energy and how to connect. But the other level that happened at 12 that brought me such clarity is there were certain things he would come to me with that really triggered me to a time of intense trauma that was when I was 12. So I would hear him speaking and there was disassociation, there's no other way to describe it. It's like I was me at age 12 and I was me at age 40 something looking at him going, oh, no, we're not going to do it that way. I had to go down that path, but you're not going to go down that path. And I'm like, here's what we're going to do. I became like this spiritual cheerleader. We're going to do breathing and we're going to shake this out. And we're going to talk to, a psychologist, and we're going to, it was like, all right, game on. So, but he just needed me to hold space for him, because what he was developmentally coming up with was appropriate for where he was at in age, but also was part of my stuff. Like, this isn't mine. Almost like you ate something that was like, oh no. It was just coming up naturally. And he's just like, that's not my story, but I need to express. So I just needed to hold the space to hear him. So we went through this phase where literally he developed pneumonia. Through his, so when I look at the energetic, functional, emotional, spiritual, all the different levels, because like he just needed to express himself to me, and I created this like block to his expression. So between the two of us really getting to, between me landing in my truth and seeing what was going on, like, oh, and I really encourage you mamas and papas who are out there listening to this, choosing to up-level your parenting requires a lot of self-nurturing and compassion. A lot of self-nurturing and compassion, because it's very easy when these kinds of things show up. It's like, oh my gosh, I've co-created this. Yes, for good, from the highest heart space. So when I was able to really own what I was bringing to this disrupted interaction and heal it for myself, that alone is like, oh my God, I'm still carrying that. I'm still carrying that. So there was so much, I'm going to cry, so much gratitude that my boy was able to, took that on so that he could process what he needed to process, but also so he could show me like, stop it. It's like, why are you still 12? Like, you can move beyond that now, mom. Like, without him being able to use those words, that was like what was in between, and the space in between. So that's just one example of some of the things that can be playing themselves out. And you may or may not be able to get to the conscious level of understanding like I did with what's arising, but it doesn't matter. Because when you open to these concepts that you are connecting us to through opening your energy and opening your heart, the heart is this alchemical, magical place that takes everything and transforms it back into love. So whether it's anger, frustration, sadness, worry, traumas, and it doesn't require that conscious level of recognition and understanding. Sometimes that comes in, sometimes it doesn't, because it's above that. It's such a higher, more expansive place. All right. What do you have to say in reflection?
I definitely brought up, it made me think about what part of why the book is about parenting is it's kind of a sneaky way to get parents to do their inner work. Because if I said, I felt if I just said, here, just do these things and it's going to make you, make you feel better. And then you're going to be better as a parent. if it specifically says it's for parenting, as parents, we're 100% more likely to invest in something for our kids before we're like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this thing that makes me feel better, right? But if this is going to make me a better parent, then it's a win for everybody. And so, yeah, really a big part of it, and why I think it's so important too, is that you can just, sorry, I'm getting all tripped up now. So you can do it anywhere, anytime. And I think that's the hardest thing that we have as parents, is trying to find where we have that self-care at, where we can really feel better without feeling like we have to leave that situation, especially when you have really little kids and there's all that like, well, I really need time to myself, but then I feel bad and I miss my kids, right? And you want to be with them all of the time. And I wish that I had this information when they were littler so that I could be doing it. Like for the first time, I'm like, I can't wait to be a grandma. Can't wait to do this when they're little and really, work through it that way. But they show you these unhealed parts of yourself, and those things that agitate you and those things that frustrate you. It opens it up and it gives you that opportunity to do that healing. And, healing is independent of time and space. So it doesn't matter if this is something that happened to you when you were 12 and you're dealing with this trauma. As you work through it as an adult, that energetic shift ripples down to your children. It removes something that they then have to remove, right? So we're always kind of getting better generation after generation. I feel like, our parents had these challenges, our grandparents had these challenges, and the small ways that they made little healing shifts and made different choices opened it up and freed us from having to do that. And then we can do that for our kids. And so it's kind of natural that we're always like, oh, our parents got this wrong, or grandparents got that wrong. Well, they kind of alleviated us having to go through those same exact things. Yes. And yeah, I think one of my favorite things from learning about generational healing was Master Marillac said, don't look back at previous generations and be upset with them because you don't know if it was you. Because we keep coming back into these same generational lines until we've worked some things out. And just kind of realizing like your kids have kind of been your like spiritual teammates for like a long time. Yes. They didn't just like suddenly show up. You guys have done this dance in a lot of different directions and different ways, and you're all kind of here helping each other work it out. And there have been so many times when I've been, really kind of stressed out about something and having a hard time with it. And I can just see that moment when I finally get through it and my kids kind of look at me and they're like, oh, good, we don't have to do this anymore, And it's like the issue ends. Whatever the thing was they were throwing a fit about for the last 6 months that I've been like, oh, it's like the moment I was like, okay, I've worked through it, like the fit goes away. Because I don't need to do it anymore. Like it's part of what we've come here to do, is to help kind of awaken each other and show each other the areas where we can be healing. And just the older they get and the more I work on myself on the inside, the more I realize all the things I thought I needed to do as a parent for them, I really just need to get out of the way. Like they know, they already have that intuitive wisdom. And part of our growing up is that we become less connected to that.
Yes.
That's kind of what's happening in our society.
So that's the invitation that you're offering through Peacefully.
And now we're at this place as adults where we're trying to find it again, but we're coming at it from a space of being less connected. And they're so much more connected than we are. And we're trying to tell them what to do and how to do it. And they're really, we talk about, we have to teach our children forgiveness and compassion. And they are a million times more compassionate and forgiving than we are. Think of how many times you can get upset and yell and just say all the wrong things and do all the wrong things to your child, and they still come to you and want a hug for comfort. Like after you're done, like after you've had your tantrum, they're like, Mommy, can I have a hug now? Can you, and we think we have to teach them about it, but they're teaching us all the time about it,
Yes. Oh my God, this has been such a beautiful conversation. One other thing I want to say, because I know this is, and I love that when you structured the book, you put this at the end, discipline. And I love, 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 love that you take the word discipline and look at the root, disciple, disciple. And first of all, first when we look at the conversation is whose disciple? Like maybe it's to be flipped in terms of who's guiding who, but at the same time, that brings us back to that. Like if there is that feeling like there's something that needs to have more structure, more boundary within the way we connect in our home as parents, the energy that sets that comes from within. We need to be that, alignment and truth representative, and then everything around us is going to reflect that change. So whether something becomes in like perfect alignment, or if it's like the circus of chaos, that's both reflection of, well, who's doing the energetic guiding here?
Yep. And that was, I think, one of the biggest, as far as just what we consider traditional parenting lessons that I learned, is around the discipline. And I found that most of the time, it's not that my children aren't disciplined, it's that I'm undisciplined in whatever I have set, because I've made a rule from an emotional state of like, oh, just we're going to throw everything away unless the room is cleaned up now, which is, if that was truly the right thing, then when I calm down, it would still be the right thing. Right. And it's that emotional up and downness and making decisions from that, instead of from the stability of truly through our heart center, and where we're calm and we know, and maybe it is the right thing to throw away a bunch of toys because maybe they do have too much. But you don't feel bad about, you don't feel stressed about it. You're just looking at it rationally and going, okay, this is just a logistical thing that just has to happen. This is the right thing for you. This is too big of a responsibility. But it's that up and downness and not being disciplined and coming back into the heart that makes us have discipline problems in the home, because we think we're stable. We think, well, the rule's the rule. No cookies before dinner. But sometimes that's not the rule, isn't it? Sometimes you're tired and you go, just eat the cookie. And so that sometimes it's yes and sometimes it's no. That makes it very difficult for them. And they're reading the energy, right? So they can read the energy of, mom's tired and she's probably going to say yes this time. They know, right? And then you're like, oh, and then they keep asking because they're like, well, you're tired again, maybe I can get another cookie. And it really has nothing to do with them being, undisciplined. It's that we aren't setting the example of, this is what discipline is. If I want them to, I always say, you got to drink the Kool-Aid. You can't just be like, here, go and do this. So I'm not a huge fan of people like just throwing their kids in a yoga program if you're not doing it. If you aren't doing that same yoga program, unless your kid is like, I want that, give it to me, I love that, don't shove it down their throat. Because if they, or even with my meditation, years ago, I would have the meditation, I'd be so calm, right? And that thing would trigger and I would be angry all of a sudden and in such a rage about something. And I was like, I'm not teaching them that my meditation makes me better. I'm teaching them that you go and do meditation, but you're still angry. You're still this. You go and do the healing, but you're still this. They're not really deeply learning that the meditation, what the benefit of that is. And so when we come into our heart space and the ways that I share, and this is by no means like the end all be all. Once you start doing these practices, and I'm pretty sure I say this in the book, you're going to see it everywhere. You're going to realize that this is the foundation of just every spiritual practice, every religion, every philosophy. And you're going to see it in every quote, in every book, in all of it. And even in movies, you're just going to start seeing it all the time and realizing, oh, that worked because this, oh, that stimulated my heart in this way. That's why it's happening. And the more you can understand the principles of truly being heart-centered, and that self-love means radiating love from your heart out through you, being a channel of that love, and what love really means in that sense, the more you're just going to find it everywhere. It would have been impossible. I would have been writing for the rest of my life to put every example of how you can activate your heart and every example of how this is proven, because There's so much out there. Even neuroscience is showing us now that this is how it works. There are more neural connections going from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart.
Yep.
And when you activate that, it changes everything. It rewires your whole nervous system, and it's just, I mean, I could speak about it for the rest of my life and not have covered. Sorry if I'm being like weird. My dog actually has a ball that she's like brought to me, and she's going to squeak it if I don't hold on to it. And so she's like yanking me around. Like she's like, I need it.
Just connect to your attention, flow, Amy.
We're just in it.
You're in
That's
it.
a perfect example too. So there are probably a lot of working parents on here. So I'm gonna share a tip with you. I don't think I put this in the book, but this is what you should do if your kids are interrupting you while you're working, especially if you have little kids. You need to reframe it as they're not interrupting you. They have recognized that you are not as much in your heart anymore. And they are not as much in their heart, and they're coming to revive that connection. And the sooner you get that connection, the sooner they will be happy to be independent again. And the sooner you will go back to your work, but you will be in a better space for your work, and you will work more efficiently because you will have activated that heart crown connection. The brain will be working from the prefrontal cortex where you can make decisions clearly. You will be emotionally more stable. So that was a huge thing with little kids and trying to work from home. I would get so frustrated, like, just give me 10 more minutes. The moment you ask for a little bit more time, the moment they feel a wall pushing them away and a closing down of that connection even more, the more desperate they are going to become, because now they are out of their heart crown connection.
Yeah.
They aren't getting all of those heart-centered benefits anymore. And they're like, oh no, I'm scared. All the things, the stresses come up, right? And they're coming to you for comfort. And we can feel like, oh, that's a burden. But the second you go, oh, that's a burden, I don't want to be heart-centered with my child right now, you have now shut down your ability. So we go through this dance where we're like, give me time, give me time. And when that can drag out for hours of them interrupting you and you getting nothing done and sitting and trying to pay the bills or do whatever. And if you take that moment, and you have to really take that moment, you can't be like, okay, what do you need, dear? Right? And be like, feed me. You have to really take that moment. Be like, just see it as them saying, listen, I can help you work more efficiently if you take this moment with me. And take that moment with them. Really hug them, surprise them. They're used to coming to you and you being like, give me time, give me space, right? Surprise them. If and everybody knows their own child. Somebody's going to be like, my kid doesn't want hugged. Well, then don't hug your kid. Do the thing that your kid wants. If it's a toddler, they probably want held and hugged and loved and kissed and told how wonderful and beautiful they are. And the sooner that you can activate your heart, the sooner theirs is activated, right? They feel filled up and then they're ready to run off again. That's why I always felt with my kids when they were tiny, it's like the moment I finally sat down, I was like, you have all my attention. They were like, see you later. You were like, what the? But now I wanted to do, but they got filled up. That was all they needed. That was what they needed so they could run off and keep doing the thing. And this is more, but it's going to take 10 times more if you push them away than if you just bring it in. And then if they know every time I come, I can get that. Like, even if right now I had a toddler who was like, I need your attention and we're in the middle of this, it would be better to pick them up and hug them and hold them and have them in the video and let them talk and let everybody go, oh, it's fine, they're so cute, and have this beautiful moment with them, and then let them go when they're ready to, than to keep asking them not to, because your brain is still going to be with them and you're not going to focus and you're not going to get the work done and you're not really going to be present, and it's going to be bothering you, and then you're going to have all this guilt and everything. So I know we say like, take that moment, but a lot of times when we take that moment, we're like taking that moment like, is it the moment over yet? Can I hurry up and put you down yet? Oh, I'm trying to do this email on top. No, just really take that moment, see it as them coming to you being like, let me help you work more efficiently. Because the moment that heart is activated, you do work more efficiently. That's your optimal state, and everything flows more easily from there.
Beautiful. Oh my God, what a perfect way to complete this. And I could listen to you for hours and hours. And I will put in the comments of this video how you can connect into Amy and information about her beautiful book. You'll see it's such a perfect guide. I mean, you get so beautifully to the point. And I want to encourage you, don't feel overwhelmed. And also, like Amy was touching upon, what you open up to is just it's the essence and the thread that you're going to find everywhere. And really, probably the most powerful piece, if I just want to leave with one final thing, this concept of, are you in contraction or are you in expansion? And allowing yourself to do a practice. We talk about this often here, of really feeling and embodying. So allowing yourself to reflect on a time when you were really in expansion and what that felt like, what was happening around you, and a time when you were in contraction. So it's like, once you start recognizing that energy within yourself, then you can start to recognize it before you've created the circus of calamities to wake you up. You can feel those more subtle signs of like, oh, I'm starting to contract. What do I need to get back into that expansive place? So,
and if anyone is not into the parenting aspect of it, I did recently have somebody request a book that was not about parenting, but had the same concepts. So I have republished the book now. It's just Peacefully Living. If you already have the parenting one, it's the same exact book. I'm just going to be fully upfront on it. It's literally same document, just went in and made some changes and tweaks to make it not about parenting. And
show the cover again. Here, let's do this. Put the cover up. I love it. No, put your book up. I love it. Right? Oh, so it's,
and then I re-edited all the things. So any small little grammar mistakes and things that were in the last publishing of that, those have been changed and updated.
Oh, I enjoyed those.
And so these are both, more updated, but yeah, it's the same things. And I know some people, I'm not very good at just like reading straight through a book, especially as a parent. You're like, give me the answer now, like find it. And I try to set the books up with that kind of thing in mind, where if you're like, I need to know about discipline now, things are out of control, go read the discipline chapter, but it's going to tie into the other things. It can stand alone, but you can come back and read the other things, and it all builds on itself, so that by the time you get to discipline, you really understand the concepts that are there. And I encourage you to take time to practice it. We tend to fantasize, we practice things. We tend to fantasize that like, I know how I'm going to feel after I do that meditation, and then not do the meditation. So when you read the book, if you're a read it straight through person, great, do it. Read it straight through, get the concepts, but then go back and spend a week practicing the awareness and the mindfulness. Spend a week working on the I am safe. She's like, come on, mom, let's go play.
Time to play.
Yeah. Spend time on it. Give yourself space. This isn't meant to all be done at once and crammed into it. And this is never going to be, you're not going to outgrow it. That's what it's so beautiful. I've been doing this for years and years and years now. And it's not something, there have been practices that I've outgrown that I'm like, that doesn't work anymore. This is only going to deepen. The more you do it, the deeper it will get. And the more it will awaken you to just seeing how this is already around you. The truth of it's already all around you. And this is just kind of a way to tap into it.
Thank you so much. This has been such a gift. Truly, truly, you're a treasure right here in Indiana with me. Magical people.
Warren and Amy Williams.
All right. Well, everybody have a beautiful weekend and take care, Amy. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank you all for coming and listening.